Our winter weather pattern just got longer as we go all the way towards the end of February, even in the beginning of March, everybody. Now, we have multiple feet of snow coming to the higher elevations in California, 5 to 7 feet within the next 48 hours. This is going to bring multiple snowstorms from the west towards north central and the Midwest as we go through this week. Now, this is going to bring a warmer scenario for everybody else, but as we go into this weekend into next week, more cold blasts coming through. And this one could bring another potential central to southern snowstorm swinging by, everybody. Showing it will be a warmer weather pattern, so it'll be a quick hitter if you do get snow, but it is possible. Now, for this morning, we still have the severe weather, chances for tornadoes, damage and winds, even hail, and this is lasting all the way until tomorrow for the West Coast. And you can see for this morning, we have some strong storms coming across for the south. So we have some strong storms going into Nashville, Tennessee, also over here for Birmingham, Alabama, down Montgomery, all the way towards Pensacola, Florida. Even a lot of storms going into Georgia that will go into the Carolinas later. Now, this group of storms is going to form up chances for some singular cells, some supercells that can come through and bring a potential tornado threat for today. Now, later on this evening, when it turns into a damage and wind event, could bring a couple strong cells into Georgia, into South Carolina, would be a low-level threat, but also another chance for a tornado. Now, overnight, we did get some snowfall reports from New Mexico and Colorado. We also had 3 tornado reports in Louisiana, even a potential 4th one coming through that brought some damage over in Mississippi. Now, we did get some wind and some wind gusts as well. Now, these tornado reports I expect to grow over here for southern Alabama, the Panhandle of Florida, going into southern Georgia for today. And power was a little bit worse for today. It has gotten dramatically better. Right now, Louisiana is at 14,000 without power, Mississippi 12,000, and Texas at 9,000, then Georgia and Oklahoma. And this is your risk for today. So you can see thunderstorms in any of these green areas. You do have that tornado threat, including that 5% still. But you see it's starting to stretch into Georgia and a little bit of South Carolina. I think this could stretch a little bit further into South Carolina. So here's your cities and states at risk for a potential tornado for today. You also have the wind threat and chances for strong damage and winds coming through, especially in the slight risk. So here's your cities and states at risk for the damage and winds for today, and your hail threat as well. Here's your cities and states at risk for today. Now, National Weather Service did take away the chance for a strong tornado, everybody. Scattered severe thunderstorms are possible today across much of northern Florida and in parts of southern Georgia and Alabama. Wind damage as well as a tornado or two will be possible, but you don't see a strong tornado or two. And you can see the latest updates. You can see here with HRRR as you go through earlier this morning. There's some cells that comes offshore for Florida. This is where you have your chance for your tornadoes as you go through the early morning hours. But once you go towards late in the morning, towards noontime, this is where you get some strong storms potentially going all the way into the Carolinas, where you might get some strong cells in there that could spin up a quick tornado, everybody. And if you look at your significant tornado perimeters, you see it does show a good pattern in that general area. It's not a highly favorable pattern, but there is a chance. Why you're getting chances for the damage and winds to come through with this line of storms, could get a quick supercell that spins up right there for the Carolinas, also for central eastern Georgia. Why you get the chance for the damage and winds coming through for southern Georgia, going through Florida as you go through the evening, all the way until later on tonight. These storms are going to train all the way across Florida. Then for tomorrow, we're going to get strong storms coming through for California. Over here in the higher elevations, a little northern in California. Then as you go through later in the day, it's going to be further south down California. So late night for tonight into tomorrow, you can see thunderstorms anywhere along the west coast. You do have that tornado threat. You have the 2 areas. It is small areas, but there's a lot of people in those areas. So here's your cities at risk for a potential tornado in California for tomorrow. And you have chance for winds as well along southern California. So here's your cities at risk for possible damage and winds for tomorrow. And the weather pattern we're about to go into is going to be extreme, everybody. Still bringing a lot of strong winds over here across the southeast. 40 and 50 miles per hour wind gust. 50 is in that orange. Also what builds up along the west coast going into the 4 corners, everybody. Showing a lot of damage and winds are possible. And this is bringing a wide area of 40 up to 50 miles per hour wind gusts, even 60 in the higher elevations right there. So watch out for the winds as well. And the hail showing over here from the south towards the southeast for today. This is your best chance to get chances for hail in these line of storms. But this is where a lot of snow is coming into play for the west, and the cold blast is going to swing across for the rest of the U.S., bringing potential more snow, everybody. A couple of storms are coming. So you can see with HRRR just on that deep trough with that pivot of storms just for the next 48 hours, bringing over 6 feet of snow potentially in the higher elevations of California. Also over here for Oregon, just the higher elevations in general, getting a lot of snow. And showing in the new data, everybody, that we have multiple storms coming through, bringing chances for more snow. A lot of cold blasts still coming through, everybody. So look at this. Your latest information for the Arctic Oscillation, the cold air coming through, is coming down for this weekend. And potentially at the end of February, going into the beginning of March again, and maybe even stronger when that happens, everybody. Now, when you look at your NAO, your North Atlantic Oscillation, when you get that negative pattern, that's where you get that cold air coming through the south in the eastern United States because of a blocking high pressure into the Atlantic that brings this deep trough into the U.S. and it just carries it across. So we have this cold blast coming through right after we hit all this cold air and snow across the west, and it goes towards north central, still on a very high ridge, chances for ice storms and snowstorms. This is coming across the south and the eastern. And then again, at the end of February and the beginning of March, another trough potentially of cold air is coming down and is trending. This is with GFS. Here's your Arctic Oscillation, the cold air coming down for this weekend, and the potential cold air coming right behind that. Showing on the NAO, both of these are going to be towards the south and the eastern United States. Now, we're already seeing some of this in the weather models. Remember, the data comes out first, so you will see more information as we get closer and the weather models come to more in fruition with the data. Because you can already see when you look at your tropopause, very cold air locking in for this week. This is going to bring multiple feet of snow, and it's going to bring that warmer scenario across that southern side as you go through the week. And then in this weekend, we're going to get a deeper trough where one of these fingers are going to come across with very cold air as we go into next week. So as you come in for Friday into Saturday, multiple snowstorms are lining up, everybody. While this cold air comes across for Sunday into Monday, and then for Tuesday out through the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. Then we get another one coming after that later into February. Now you can see this when you look at some of the latest model data that is starting to show about this cold air. So you have the storm building up for tomorrow, going all the way towards north central for Tuesday and Wednesday, bringing that ice, potential ice storm, some freezing rain, and bringing that snowstorm that's going further into Canada, everybody. Still bringing a lot of snow. But watch how this builds as we go through the weekend. Multiple storms going on this track towards the north. So that's 2. This makes 3 coming across the Rockies by Friday. And this is the one that you need to watch that's going out through the northeast. It's showing a warmer pattern for y'all. Watch how this swings across the south with this cold air as we go all the way towards that Sunday and that Monday. Now, if this precipitation meets up with this cold air, you could see more snow across the central U.S., maybe across mid-Mississippi Valley or a little bit for the southeast again. You can see the same thing with GFS. The only difference is as you go Saturday into Sunday, the precipitation is meeting up a little bit better with the colder air over here across Ohio Valley, Tennessee, Kentucky Valley, and maybe across the northeast might get more snow out of it. But look how this does a deep trough as you go through for Sunday. And we are literally right past 7 days, everybody. So this will be a warmer scenario, of course, but you could get a quick hitter of a snow that could come down all the way across the south central and across for the southeast all over again. Not showing it'll be a lot, but showing it is possible that could come by. Then right afterwards, you're going to be in a warmer scenario again, so it will melt. But you could see a quick hitter come by, and then another one coming after that. We're going to a very snowy weather pattern. Now, I'm not expecting anything too crazy, but you can see with the ensemble of the Euro, your more than likely outcome, that as we go all the way into this weekend, bringing that snowstorm further north into the lower 48, but mostly into Canada, bringing feet of snow over here for the Sierra and the Rockies. But as you go through for the weekend into next week, this is where you have that snowier pattern. Now, when you look at the ensembles, it shows you that it's not a chance for any snow, really. It's just a warmer scenario, and I don't think it's going to be a big chance, but I think there is a chance, and we need to watch out for this area right here as we go through this weekend coming just very early of next week. Either way, it's still bringing a lot of snow. It's still bringing multiple feet over here for the west going into the Rockies. Also, that snowstorm coming across the northern U.S. into the lower 48, and a lot of snow into Canada. Now, this is the next 10 days, showing these other snowstorms that come across will be a little light, maybe 1 to 2 inches. But you see how you have the chance to come across the south with something as well. Not expecting it to stay, but you could see it again. This is the GFS showing the chance for that freezing rain, potential ice storm on the southern side of that snowstorm as we go into this weekend, everybody. Then you can see the same thing with the Euro, but showing that warmer scenario for everybody else. But it is still seeing that freezing rain mixture right below that snow. So make sure you go out and enjoy these temperatures, everybody. We have a big warm up for our highs for today. Tomorrow morning, it will come down with colder temperatures, but a lot warmer of a scenario. Even with the wind chill, it will be there for the Rockies, the North Central, the Great Lakes going out through New England. But it will warm right back up again for tomorrow. So make sure you're ready for these storms for today, everybody, but really make sure you're ready for this big snowy weather pattern that's about to come through all the way from the west, all the way towards the North Central and the Great Lakes. And make sure you watch for those storms coming through for this weekend going to early next week. We could see a quick hitting snowstorm come by. It should melt right afterwards, but it will be a quick hitter. Thank you all for your time. Hope you have a very blessed day today, and happy Sunday to every single one of you. And before I go, a quick word from our Father, everybody. Psalm 57, 1-3. Be merciful unto me, O God. Be merciful unto me. For my soul trusteth in thee. Yes, in the shadow of thy wings will I make my refuge, until these calamities be overpast. I will cry unto God most high, unto God that performeth all things for me. He shall send from heaven and save me from the reproach of him that would swallow me up. Selah. God shall send forth his mercy and his truth. Amen. Have a great day, everybody. Get ready for this weather pattern change we're about to go into. It's about to get colder and snowy all over again. Thank you again for your time. And remember, above all things, all glory does go to God, our Father in heaven, Yahweh. And I always hope he keeps you safe every single day of your life and forever. Amen. Hallelujah. Amen. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you so much for your time.